go faster, build the first proof of concepts and see that, hey, this is actually possible.
Yeah.
Build things and show them that this is what I meant. This is possible. It's not just a layout, it actually works. And then people are, oh yeah, something clicks.
This show will be a little bit special. So this time we are flipping the show. Normally, Joni is in the other chair asking the hard UX questions. Today, he is the guest. Joni Juup is co-founder and CDO of Intentface, and he is a designer and developer by craft, not a slide deck strategist. Here's why we are doing this right now. Joni has helped build agentic experience for a long list of SaaS companies, so he has seen the same problems show up again and again across very different products. I want to mind that. What actually works, what keeps breaking, and what the safe bets are right now. Welcome to your own show, Joni.
Thank you. Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. Let's start. Maybe I just close the laptop and go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
With the flow this time. So, Joni, I'm curious to hear a little bit about your background and how did you end up co-founding Intentface?
Oh no, it's a long story, but I try to keep it short.
We have 1 hour to go.
Oh yeah, okay, let's go the long route. So yeah, I have about 20 years background in the business, and I will jump to the near history. So Intentface basically is end result of some research and development. So we built this like drag and drop model playground solution before ChatGPT even was a thing. So we thought that we were quite clever because we were chaining models together, and the models were quite bad at that time. So you couldn't really do much of any useful stuff. So you could maybe summarize some news, short news, and things like that. But from that, we sort of like, we got the inkling that this is going to be something really big, and people didn't really get what large language models are and how could you use them in businesses. And we thought that, okay, we need to educate people about this before we can sell any sort of solution.
Yeah, I remember the story you have been telling about Web Summit in 2022.
22 probably, I think it was maybe 2 months before ChatGPT launched.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, how can we get people to sort of understand the potential? Because AI had this like aura that if you implement AI, it's like a multi-year project, super expensive, and maybe it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So when ChatGPT came out, that sort of like solved the problem for us, because the hype train really sort of started to move at that point. And it became quite apparent that the use cases weren't super clear for any of the companies we were talking with. So everybody was sort of finding their footing. What should we do with these new models? What are they capable? And they weren't that capable at that point. So in the early days, you didn't even have like tool calling. So they couldn't really use outside tools. And RAG was really like dumb. So it basically was you entered some question into a chat, and it used your question to match some documents and injected those into the prompt, and then the model answered.
Yeah.
So it was like, that was the most novel thing that people were doing at that point. So we've come a long way from that, and the models have. But like, it's totally different game now.
Do you want to explain where the name came from, the Intentface?
Yeah. So my background is a designer, more like a UX type of person. So I'm always thinking about how stuff works and how should it work better. And we were talking with some of the Intentface co-founders about these like patterns, and Intentface as a term came up from something. And I'm not totally sure if it was a blog post from somewhere, but the sort of word got stuck in our minds. And we thought that this is a really good term for the next generation of interfaces. So instead of you clicking on weird abstractions like buttons, drop-down menus, like stuff that we are not mentally designed to use, like they exist only for the sole reason that the computers don't understand us or our language.
Yeah.
And now that we have a technology that basically understands us, our intent, we can start building interfaces that understand intent, hence the Intentface. So you state what you want to achieve and the computer does it for you. And I think in Finnish it's called tietokone, which is a knowledge machine in English. So I've always sort of thought that the computers that we have are quite stupid compared to the name. What they have. Now they are tietokone. So now they are knowledge machines. And I think we are on a level that we should have been a long time ago.
Yeah. I think from my perspective, your background is quite perfect for this age because you have been doing this UX things, product things, some level of coding, some machine learning in Silo. And basically with all this agentic development and everything, you can basically almost alone do many kind of things.
Yeah.
Is it so? Do you find it?
I think so, yeah. Because when we were still in the earlier sort of machine learning era, I was at Silo AI and was thinking about the solutions around those technologies like natural language processing, machine learning, how to build the design experiences and the app experiences around those, and learned also about the technology sort of limitations and possibilities. In the previous world, you basically needed to be a data scientist to build anything with AI. So it's a lot of like data refinement and, building those data sets that you use to teach the models. But now that you have pre-trained models like large language models, which you prompt, then you can basically focus on just building and using the solution, which is more like a full stack developer problem and the front end problem and the UI problem. So in a sense, it sort of fit perfectly with my profile and my co-founder's profile. There's a number of us, but most of us are like full stack developers. So we didn't need to be data scientists anymore to do stuff with AI.
Yeah.
So it was a good fit.
Yeah. I think it definitely benefits to be a very technical full stack developer even now in AI age, but I think you compound even more benefits when you also have this product understanding and UX understanding now when the actual developing part gets easier. So it's easier to decide what should be, what you should even build.
Yeah. And if you consider like large language models are probabilistic, so you ask it something and it always gives you a bit of a different answer. So you need to really focus on the user experience around it. How do you sort of deal with the problem space and how do you sort of build the interaction between the technology and the human? And it's a quite different game than before these probabilistic models, because coding was either it worked or it didn't work. So it was quite, straightforward not straightforward, but it wasn't such like how would I put it? I think there's more surprises now when you build solutions. So which is always why we tell our clients as well that you need to iterate fast and you need to iterate often because you always learn something. You build the first solution and you see that this part works quite well and hey, we also could do this, and it sort of compounds and you find all the problems and you see where the model can go wrong at some points and you need to start building those guidelines and evals around it and everything else. So the whole process is very different than from the software development earlier.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pain point for a lot of product teams.
Yeah, you mentioned product teams and we mostly work with the founders and product teams. So do you have if you're like product oriented founder or technical oriented founder, do you have some tips how they should start their journey toward becoming AI native?
Yeah. Well, hands-on. It's what all of our guests in this podcast have been telling, and I think that's the only way. You can read, theories, how to do prompting, how to do everything, but it's sort of like there's a lot of vibes flowing.
I think that's clear path for product-oriented founders to be hands-on. But what about the technical ones? Because they are hands-on already. Of course, maybe not hands-on with AI, but should they become more product thinking?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it depends a lot on the profile. So if you're like purely backend, then you probably think about problems differently than a product or design person. And prompting feels quite icky for a lot of, at least what I've heard from these like backend developers who appreciate that you have a system that does the things that it should do and does not go off the rails and do different things. So prompting itself doesn't come naturally for everyone. So the whole sort of understanding like the black magic of prompting is one thing that you need to learn, and you need to do it by iterations, and you need to see that you give this stuff in the model, what comes out, why did it do this, and it's so like it's model dependent, and I think they are more or less unifying, so you can the models sort of act more or less the same in broad sense to the prompts, but it's always these tiny details that you need to adjust.
Yeah.
And I think that only comes from sort of failing a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even if you are really technical and you're hands-on, you need to sort of keep trying new stuff and pushing the boundaries and trying, will this work? So a lot of sort of like exploration, because everything is moving so fast still. I think we are still in the sort of adoption phase of this technology. We're not even in the optimization phase yet. Yeah. Everything's just breaking, and some patterns are emerging, but when you have like paradigms that are maybe 6 months old, we can't really talk about like stability in the way you do things.
Yeah. Let's move to Intentface clients. So mostly Intentface clients are, maybe they could be called like traditional SaaS companies. So 5 to 20-year-old, have profitable business going already, but maybe their own AI capabilities are not that far yet. So we partnership with them as AI development partners, and we have a lot of good clients such as Vainu, Agileday, Jobilla, just a few to mention there. What are the what are the main learnings?
I think all those companies that you mentioned have gone already like a really long way since the first time we met with them. And we can't take the credit. I would love to take all the credit for marketing and sales purposes. But
let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. But the teams have really like owned this transformation. And I think they have done it in a way that they have given people time to focus on this technology and sort of the resources to actually do it. And it's very, I think, founder-led as well. So it comes from the top as well. So the people who are making the decisions and doing the roadmaps are hands-on themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, you can't really lead AI transformation if you're not doing it yourself at all.
So how do you see your role? Maybe we could call it even transformation in some cases. So how do you see your role and Intentface role in that?
I think there's a kind of a catalyst role. So we sort of like, we ignite the development in some cases. Like there has already maybe some motion happening, but we can come in and we can use the learnings that we have from other cases and just, go faster, build the first proof of concepts and see that, hey, this is actually possible. And then people they get caught up with the speed or the energy. And then we start building that for production, basically.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of things, if at least what I've learned in the past 20 years, is that you have to build things and show them that this is what I meant. This is possible. It's not just a layout. It actually works. And then people are, oh yeah, something clicks. And then you're off to the races, basically.
Yeah.
But it's inspiring, sort of showing the way and, supporting the team that they usually already have some motion happening. So we come in.
And of course, we in the end build with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we are pushing them and then they get up to speed and we go together. And some of them are already running fast when we come in. So it depends on the team really much.
If you're, let's play a game that if you're a SaaS founder who still haven't started or is in the beginning of AI journey, what should they do?
Great question. I think there are multiple things.
You already mentioned hands-on, putting yourself.
Yeah, I'm thinking that if I would be a SaaS founder in such a position, I would, of course, the hands-on thing and getting your team, like having the permission to try and experiment with stuff, because you need to sort of build your sort of touch and sense about this technology. And only way to do that is really just go and experiment. So if you have an existing product, letting some people have enough time so they can build some experiments around it. Talk with companies who have already shipped something to get you on the right footing. So you don't have to, do all the same mistakes everybody else is doing. That is also good, but if you're in a hurry, then it would be good to avoid some of the obvious ones. But yeah, giving time to right people, experimenting, and maybe not spending too much time on X, because there's a lot of hype that will sort of also misguide you, because people are talking that they have these agent armies just building billion-dollar companies. There's a lot of this sort of, you can get caught up in it and feel like you're doing everything wrong and you're moving too slow, and just focus on solving problems instead of focusing on the actual technology. Talk with your users, talk what they are struggling with, try this new technology, maybe it unlocks something that previously wasn't possible.
That's been also one learning for me. You mentioned X, but I think LinkedIn is more or less similar. Especially I've been, of course, because I'm doing GTM personally, I've been following some LinkedIn influencers. GTM LinkedIn influencers, and it seems they have like their agentic stack fully solved already, going full throttle.
Yeah.
But then after meeting them personally, it's not that rosy the picture anymore. It's like, okay, it works okay-ish, but not really that well still.
Yeah, it's good to keep that in mind. So there's this sort of like Instagram reality, and then there's reality.
Yeah.
But hey, I know I have this insider knowledge that you've been at Sanoma before you joined Intentface.
Yeah.
And there was a big AI transformation going as well. So you've been going through this path of learning AI in an enterprise perspective and helping people to sort of adapt it. If you are talking to enterprise people who are in the looking at this AI transformation, do you have some good sort of strategies or frameworks how to sort of think about it?
A little bit background. So I was director of this 70 people Sanoma content studio before joining Intentface, and I was running this AI transformation for marketing production inside Sanoma approximately 100 people, so a lot of people. And some learnings from there, some really easy tactics is like give licenses to everyone.
Yeah.
The amount of bad feelings you get when you only give licenses to some people doesn't make any sense. Probably you will just, and the amount of time you lose having those discussions why someone gets licenses and someone doesn't. So just give everyone Gemini, Claude, Copilot, whatever you are using. Probably, hopefully something else than Copilot, but just give the licenses to everyone.
Was there some way of you? I know giving licenses is the first step, but how do you get people sort of up to speed? Like, did you have people from within the teams sort of teaching them, or did you have people from outside?
All of them. So
everything.
we
throw everything at it.
So we chose internal AI champions. So first I've of course tried to find from every team one person who was like inspired and had the motivation and had already learned by themselves some AI stuff.
Yeah.
So we first thing was to choose the AI champions who were and try to through them inspire the rest of the team to use AI. And those champions were also responsible for mapping their teams like processes and then try to find like where we could use some AI tools to make some part of the process more effective. Then we have used also externals for educating us and some workshops, etc. Maybe one biggest learning from there is that if you, for example, in my case, in Sanoma Content Studio, there was some former chief editors, video people, etc. So if you give them some generic AI workshop, whatever, they are like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You really have to bring someone in their territory. For example, we brought Antti Karppinen, who now works for Supercell. He's like a former photographer, very high-end photographer. And he's very deep also in AI. So we brought Antti to teach our people who are doing the video and photo and stuff to teach how he uses AI. And after that, they're, okay, if Antti is doing that, maybe I should also do that. Because so I think that's very... So you really have to find in your vertical or what you're doing some people who have done similar things before but are now deep in AI.
Yeah, like the peer examples.
Peer-to-peer. And maybe one thing is also this, the categorization, I think works really well, is that you have like basically 3 different categories where you can leverage AI. You have people, teach people how to use AI, educate people. Then you have processes, usually some internal processes, how to make some part of those processes more effective, maybe with NHN or some Copilot automation or Gemini or whatever. And then you have product, how to make product better.
That's our territory.
Yeah, and that's our territory. Just saying that, so it's easier for me to categorize that where we are not purely in product, but
it's the focus point.
The education part is most less byproduct.
Yeah, the stone sort of lands there, but the ripples affect other areas as well. Yeah, but I think that's the sort of level that makes sense, because I've seen this almost in every client company, that you have these people who adopt this technology in a different way than some of their peers.
Yeah.
So they are, like you said, this like champions, and it usually doesn't even happen by design. So they just get inspired about this thing and they see the possibilities and they start building things, trying things out, and then it sort of like spreads this sort of inspiration and hey, she's doing that, they're doing that.
Yeah.
And
maybe I mention one more thing, not related to product or agentic things, but from pure people perspective, from human perspective, how I think this transformation is different than previous ones. This is much faster, and basically it's more or less impossible to teach people exact ways of working with AI. And so what we are now looking for, or what most companies are looking for, they are giving people licenses, maybe some examples, but they're expecting every employee to find their internal development manager for themselves.
Yeah.
So they could map their processes and how they could benefit using AI in some parts of that. Yes, there are, I don't know, 20%, maybe even 30% of people who can do that. But most of the people aren't wired that way. So I think that makes me a little bit worrying sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. How do you see, I'm now interviewing you, see how the tables turned?
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you see this sort of playing out in your head? Like in this time, like in this space and time, what do you think will happen with, for example, in enterprise internally? You don't have to predict how Sanoma will go, but enterprise in general, because you've been talking with a lot of those.
I'm positive, I'm optimist, and I think in general, I believe there won't be that huge layoffs some are expecting to happen. But what the employees are doing inside those enterprises changes. So I think there are like a lot of people are now. Let's take Sanoma for example. I think the B2B, basically the sales department, are like almost 500 people, and the actual sales, like frontline sales people, I think it's 160, 80, maybe 200 at max. And so there's a lot of like back office and supporting jobs. And I believe that in the future, more and more people are doing those things AI can't do. So maybe the sales, being with customers. So maybe the back office things and supporting things will actually shrink. And the way AI sucks, being human, with human connections.
Human connection.
Yeah. So I think it will change. Yeah. So definitely some people will, unfortunately, their jobs won't continue, but some new jobs will arrive.
Yeah, a lot of roles will change. I was just in a panel and somebody asked that what would I say to like young people entering the workforce? Like how about young UX designers? And so I was thinking that UX design itself is quite young as a profession. It's a label we invented basically some time ago. So I wouldn't sort of, I think a sane way, at least how I approach it, is to not try to hold on to labels too much because the roles are changing and they're mixing together and everything is sort of like shifting a bit, like mixing and there are new roles that are going to being born out of this whole change as well. So what people probably should be doing, at least young people, is the sort of open mind in like what are the human capabilities in all of this.
Yeah. And I think
I don't even know what are the positions. I know it's worrying because all the junior positions are basically taken over by AI. So how do they enter the job market?
Yeah.
I don't have an answer to that, but I feel like new things will open up once we sort of stabilize and find our footing.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe the trend word right now, I don't know if you have heard the high agency people, meaning like independent people who just knows what to do and can execute them alone. So, and I think especially in the age of AI, it benefits you. So you don't have like basic limitations, and especially because you can do, if you know what you're doing, alone, quite substantial stuff. So I don't know how to teach. Like let's say that earlier, maybe we educated people to become good employees to factories or something like that. That you have your box. This is the process. You begin from there, do that, and that's your job.
Yeah.
So and now it's more complicated, and basically we are just looking for more and more looking for people who have this high agency mindset, so that just give them some target and they will find out how to do those things. So maybe I have no clue how to teach this agency for people, but I think that's one not feature, but what you should try to have.
And maybe it's intuition. And,
intuition or something like that. Yeah.
And then taste and all of that comes from just a lot of doing.
Yeah.
So like you said, high agency people are at an advantage. I think some blog post that I read recently said that these 10x engineers are transformed into 100x engineers, meaning that those that were already like really high agency and capable of doing a lot of stuff by themselves are truly like elevated by this technology.
Yeah.
And then there are some who are not 10x developers. Their gains are much smaller.
Yeah.
And that's just, people are built different.
So do you personally feel you're 10x already?
I don't know. I feel like I'm doing a lot of stuff. I don't know what is the number, the X number. It changes.
Yeah.
Some Saturdays I might be for 4 hours I might be 1000x, and then I'm minus 20 times X. So it depends.
Yeah. But just compared to what you were able to do like a year or two ago or something.
Honestly, it's crazy because stuff that, and I think I was like quite fast as a designer and a front-end developer. I haven't done that much back-end, but like design and front-end. And I feel like I was fairly fast in doing those, and I know HTML, CSS like blindfolded. That's what I did for a long time. And I wouldn't go back to manual coding. It feels so stupid now because I tried it just a couple of days ago. I didn't have the internet on, so I was just doing stuff without any autofills or anything.
Opening text edit and
yeah, basically, yeah. But it was crazy because I was thinking that I was doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
We didn't even have the AI autofill, like not that long ago.
Yeah.
The actual bottleneck was the code production. So that's why people were hiring these like huge development teams because it was super slow. And now it's not. It's like said, the middle is thinning, like the middle that took most of the time, like the development cycles.
Yeah.
That's not the thing anymore. Now it's what do you build? And that's what I like struggle now because I could build anything. At least I have the occasional...
You're hallucinating yourself like I can build
occasional
anything.
psychosis that I can do anything now that I have these technologies. But you need to still pick your battles. And sort of, if you ask AI, what should I build? They're always like, yeah, let's go. That's a great idea. But yeah, don't use AI for that.
Yeah.
You need to really stop and think. And a good life hack I want to share with you is closing the laptop, putting the phone away and just taking a notebook and writing like a psychopath. It's great. It's actually like thinking for a while. It feels fantastic.
That's actually a really good life hack. Actually, I have also found that prompting with mobile, I usually create for some reason better prompts because it's slower.
Oh yeah.
I was just looking. Well, my kid was in a football training, and I was standing there in the edge and writing about a lot of stuff. And this was actually really good because it's so slow. You actually have to think like, no, add this and take this. Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing is, I don't know if you've tried, for example, Claude has this voice mode.
Yeah.
So you can put it on your mobile. You can put the voice mode on and it runs in your background. So when you're out jogging or walking or whatever, you can have your earpods on and then you can talk with, I think it's Sonnet model. So it's not the best model that you talk with. And you shouldn't expect anything like fantastic out of it, but it's like an interactive notebook. And it's really fun way because then you're in the zone when you're walking. I've done some creative sort of like thinking around some like game mechanic stuff that I was thinking about. So I was just jogging around, talking with Claude and, you know, reflecting on ideas, and it can do web searches for you on the fly. So you can just, hey, can you pull up that info?
Yeah.
Like what Joe Rogan had this
Yeah.
this guy who always pulls up stuff, so you can have Claude P or personal, what's his name? I haven't watched the podcast, so I just know it by the clips, but
Yeah.
But it's quite nice way of sort of like organizing your ideas, because then you get the sort of overview of what you've been talking about, and then you can use that to sort of continue at home or whatever.
Yeah. Let's go back to SaaS.
Yeah.
What is the mistake you watch SaaS teams make over and over when they add AI or agents to their product? Or do you see some?
I don't think there's a single mistake. I think it's always the same things that, you know, general mistakes of not having enough context or experience about things. And then you go on to build the wrong thing, or you prioritize the wrong things. But I think the main thing is sort of think about the problems and not the technology. When people are talking about AI transformation, it sometimes leans too much into like thinking about the technology, and then when you're a hammer, everything's a nail, and you know it sort of, you see stuff in a weird way. And if you focus on the actual problems that you're trying to solve, like the use cases, what will someone actually want to do? So if you start, we have this sort of like I don't really want to call it a framework because it's so stupid simple. It's just basically think about a prompt or a instruction that your user or you might give to an AI model, and then think about the best possible answer or outcome it could give you, and then figure those scenarios out.
Yeah.
Like answer, best possible answer. A question, best possible answer. And then when you have those, you can walk back the steps, like how do you get to that best possible answer? So don't even focus on the technology or the restrictions or anything yet.
Yeah.
Because then if you have the goal in mind, this is what we want to get out of it, then it's much easier to think about the technology and the solutions.
Yeah. How do you, like when you start working with some SaaS founders, do you have some framework? Or how do you decide like what to build first?
Yeah, it really much depends on where they are, because everybody is sort of in a different stage. So the main framework is basically just talking a lot with them, understanding their product, understanding their problem, and then figuring out what are the sort of high impact use cases that we should be doing.
Yeah.
There are some, you know, use cases that sound really cool, but then when you start looking into actual what it produces, like what is the outcome, how will people use it, maybe it's not that useful in the end. So recognizing those, like why are we doing this, what is the value that it will provide, that usually guides us.
Let's talk a little bit about recruiting. So we are basically all the time hiring AI engineers and design engineers.
Yeah.
If someone wants to get in, what you're looking for?
I can
and what is the process like?
Yeah, I could focus on the sort of design engineers and the designers, so maybe they can get something out of this.
Yeah.
So the process is fairly simple. So we want to see what people have been doing, like their portfolio. That's basically like the best thing that we look into. Like what is their taste? And taste is the thing that we are sort of evolving around. If you have a good eye, good taste, you understand technology, then you already have a good package. And if you're a nice person and get along with clients, you can communicate clearly. That is the sort of like the package that we are looking for. And
sounds simple. Do you usually give some tasks?
Yeah, we have some like a homework type of assignments, nothing too complicated, but just to get this sort of feeling that how they approach like agentic interfaces. So we have this chatbot implementation around a already established framework that they can then customize and build it themselves. Sort of like what would they build if they had, they could build anything and just make it like nice.
Yeah.
So it's a good way of sort of seeing the technical capabilities. Even if you use AI models to do it, it's fine, but the outcome is what matters. So if you give us like a Claude designed outcome, then that's not really what we are looking for, because we want someone who has the taste level, like the threshold of what will I give out, basically. What is my sort of filter of good work?
Yeah.
And that's the taste. And that's really, really tough to teach anybody. It's something you practice like day to day, like how you watch the world, how you sort of conduct yourself, how you do your work. And that's, I think taste is the sort of differentiator in a lot of teams these days.
Yeah.
And And for any like front-end developers, designers who are still in the middle of this transformation, I think just boldly go into the technology route and build something functional using Claude Code, Codex, whatever. Just start building and get your feeling around it. Because I don't think I can't say that there's not any demand, but I think product designers should be doing functional stuff now instead of just drawing images.
Yeah.
Everybody has the capability and nobody has the excuse of not being able to do it, because now is the time to learn anything. So just need to go boldly at it and learn it.
That was a good line. Probably will use that in an ad. I think we are closing soon. So outside,
let's talk about the future.
Let's talk about the future.
Yeah.
I was curious about your personal use, but let's talk about the future first.
Do you have a vision? How would you like to use AI? Like you have been doing a lot of different, like day to day. You're using our own tooling. We're building the knowledge base and we are slowly building in features from that. You are using AI native apps like Zero, Claude,
and
Cowork.
I have built some own automation since Cowork. So I think I'm like AI savvy knowledge worker.
Yeah,
I would call myself.
What doesn't work yet, and what do you see like? What would be the optimal thing that you like to see?
I think one realization, at least for me, okay, I have background in media and marketing and creativity, and for some reason, for example, usually the demo cases are always, hey, we have this video model doing this stuff and image model doing this, and hey, we can build this. Or in sales, for example, we have this outreach machine what can create like thousands of emails for you personalized. And I think those are not the best cases because I think the most, at least for me, at least in this stage, the most best cases for AI are much like simpler things, much boring things like categorizing your CRM contacts, finding them who are the ICP, automating some more boring stuff. And of course, I also automate some of my emails, some simple LinkedIn contacting or something like that. But I really believe that being human, and I really believe in the human connection, and I'm in sales. So yeah, I do outreach with the help of AI, but if some, for example, responses, then it's me after that. So I think I'm more and more dividing where I want to use AI and where I don't want to use. So
Yeah.
there's like the humans, and some areas I think I don't even want to have AI there.
Yeah, it's basically it's just where do you see everything, sort of what do you see, what would you hope would happen? What would be the optimal sort of shape of AI for you? Like what would be a different future, better future? Home, work.
Well, of course, this is like philosophical thing. Of course, I would like to spend more time doing things where humans and I'm good, and less time on boring things.
Yeah.
And of course, AI is already helping me on those things. I'm doing things that I wouldn't have done half year ago, year ago.
Yeah.
So I'm already doing those, but and I would say that it's still to make those things work, you have to be quite tech and AI savvy. So there's still a little hacks and going on it. You have to remember this and that, and of course, I think those will mature a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's this sort of like trend. We talk about agent harnesses, and the harness is basically keeping the whole thing together, like figuratively, like making
that's one thing I have learned via harness.
Yeah.
Moat.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Buzzwords. But the better the models come, the sort of thinner the harness gets.
Yeah.
So I was just yesterday thinking that the harness probably turns into a leash at some point.
Turns into
a leash.
Okay.
Because then when the agents and the models become so capable that they are working proactively and doing good, scary stuff by themselves, then you don't really have the need for a harness anymore to make that possible, because they already are sort of like they're able to do a lot of things by themselves. Then you really need to focus on restricting the models.
Yeah.
And right now we are just sort of trying to keep them together and on the right task, and iteratively it becomes better, and the frontier models are becoming more capable. So this, I think, will flip a bit at some point. And the other thing is this personal context, like Apple just talked about their new Siri AI.
Yeah.
And they have all of your sort of phone's personal context there.
But it seems they're only using like messages and mails and some very basic stuff.
Yeah. If we don't go into the practical details, what will they actually release? But in optimally, if they could get everything working, they would be in a really strong position, because I think personal context is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And if we're in the sort of adoption phase of AI, so everybody's adopting it, and the next phase will be the optimization phase. So how do we make stuff cheaper, faster, economic, whatever? And I believe that will be followed by this sort of like a predictive AI phase. So instead of you even giving an input, everything you do is context. Everything you do in your context is input already.
Yeah.
So when you look at your watch, it's already done some things for you, or at least suggesting the next action.
Yeah.
And then you need the personal context, and whoever owns that. So if Apple might be a really strong position if they have these ecosystem users.
Yeah. Siri can do that already little bit. Like if you every week, same day, same time, drive to same place, it success you to maybe you want to turn Apple Maps to this.
Yeah. And I get a suggestion in the evenings that maybe you want to listen to this sleep playlist when I put my kids to sleep. So I'm like, AI.
Yeah.
Very nice.
But Joni, personal use, the basic questions I have to ask from every guest. Outside of client work, where do you personally lean on agents in your own day?
Yeah, I don't really use AI. I don't believe it. I don't believe it can do. No.
Good answer.
Just kidding. Yeah, I sort of mix and match. So right now I'm sort of preferring to use Cloud Code. So I'm doing quite a lot of stuff with that. So internal projects and exploratory work as well, and Codex time to time. So those are like the main go-to tools, and the Cloud Desktop just basic figuring out stuff and quick prototypes and, just extending my sort of thinking. But outside that, it's just, one thing in one tool, trying out this image model, this video model, this audio model. So it's just trying stuff out.
Yep.
So I can get, a feeling of what is capable of what people are doing, like what are the interactions, what works, what doesn't work. So just, I think maybe Claude Code is right now the core product alongside our own knowledge base, basically.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Okay. What are you watching in the space right now? Whose work makes you think, I wish we had built that?
Oh man, so many. Let me think about the earlier.
You can't mention Anthropic and OpenAI. It's forbidden.
Yeah. Well, just recent things, not something that I'm religiously following, but Rev just released this image model that creates images in layers and in sort of these layouts. And they have a really, really nice sort of way of showing it, how this whole image is generated. It's something new and I find it quite useful as well because it does it in layers and it's editable and it's sort of like very sort of practical and a cool way how they're doing it. It's sort of, well, you have to go in and watch it. We can put it in the show notes or something. But it's these small interactions and things that really inspire me most. Of course, there are like Karpathy and all the folks that have really good sort of take on things and they're living on the sort of development edge. So they have a good landscape that they can look into and, get these insights. Always nice to sort of listen to those. But I'm sort of like mix and match. I'm looking at new things and I don't have a sort of this. I don't have any one stream that I religiously follow.
Great. So, if you enjoyed this well-structured conversation, please follow or subscribe us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or whenever you are listening, watching this show. Joni, thank you.
Thank you. Like and follow.